it teaches people to be blindly obedient, not just to a deity, but then you have, the lower levels, like, oh, okay, the government or your husband or so on and so forth. Sorry about that. We have a call, so we should probably. Oh, that's a good one. It's I'm gonna ask how this is pronounced, but Raziel, maybe Raziel. I'm just gonna go with that, and we ask him from Arizona, who's a theist and says that atheism doesn't make sense. So,
cool.
Hey, did I pronounce that right? I'm so sorry if I
Hello.
didn't.
Yeah, Raziel.
Raziel, okay, perfect.
Hey, Raziel,
Awesome.
how's it going today?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself before you get started?
Sure. Raziel. I deconverted from atheism. I was an atheist most of my life. An Eastern Orthodox Christian now.
Okay. And what was it that convinced you?
So I started thinking about atheism deeply, and it just, to me, runs into a lot of contradictions that it can't reconcile.
Okay. Can you just
There's no God.
Can you just define atheism for us?
Yeah, the not believing in any God.
Okay.
Okay. Good. Cool.
So lack of belief in a God, is that what you mean?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for clearing that up. It's always good to talk about definitions first before we get started on things. And thanks for sharing a bit about your story as well. Was there something during the time that you were deconverting that was forcing you in that direction, or are you just thinking about life in general?
Oops. Are you still with us on the line? Well, I hope it didn't drop. Maybe they'll call back.
Hello.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, hi. Hey.
Got him.
You guys hear me?
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah,
I think it cut off for a second, but we're good.
I was just thanking you for sharing all that information. So no, it's really nice, to be able to have a background before we start the conversation. So yeah, if you wanted to go ahead with what you wanted to say.
Yeah, so you had asked what started my deconversion. I was just arguing with theists. I still love to debate, and they would just make good points that I couldn't ever really answer. And it just grew like a seed inside me. And then later on, I had like a personal kind of coming to Jesus moment. But yeah, that's more like on the personal side, whereas what really started me there was the logical necessity of God.
Okay. What type of logical arguments were they making that were convincing?
Okay, you guys can hear me now, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Please continue.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so where were we talking about?
No,
I was just saying that
what logical
God is required to have objective sense of these things.
Sure. So what
and
was the
in
logical?
atheist,
I'm sorry, I'll let you go.
Oh yeah, in an atheist universe, you cannot get to objectivity on any of these matters. So when I'm presented with either atheism or theism, one just seems way better than the other, the theism, because I can get objective morality, I can get objective truth, I can get objective logic. If I go the other direction into atheism, it just reduces into absurdity in the end, right?
Okay. Yeah, so I think what you're saying is that if you're going to go down the path of atheism, then you can't have objectivity, and if you are going to go with a God, you're saying that the objective facts of the universe or objective morals come from this God. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. And what would make them objective if they're coming from the mind of a deity?
Well, because it would be like a non-physical thing that's unchanging. So the universe.
Oh, you blacked out again there.
Okay. Yeah. So in the atheist paradigm, the universe is just particles in motion. There is no unchanging anything. Everything is in constant flux. And so the fact that we even see order and that we think there's objective reality and all these things is heavy evidence for a metaphysical being, a mind that is grounding these logics, these truths, these moralities outside of our reality. And
But
if you
I have
think out of that,
I have a question though. Like, if you are using God's sort of set of rules to follow to make sure that you're following that morality, how do we reconcile so many different interpretations from the same book, from the same Bible? For example, if I ask a Catholic about certain rules from the Old Testament that some Christians are using today, like the ones about not wearing the opposite gender's clothing, for example, to excuse transphobia. And then somebody says, "Yeah, that rule still applies today." And then a Catholic will say, "Well, no, we don't. We no longer use the Old Testament." So how do we reconcile which ones are morals that we are still supposed to follow today versus morals that were only set for, whatever timeline the Bible was written in?
yeah, so we're fallen beings, and we're not perfect, so we're not able to understand everything, and we will disagree. But there aren't like Christians that believe morality doesn't exist. We're not arguing the subjectivity of morality. We'll argue about the specifics of morality, but we all agree morality in the Christian worldview exists, whether you're Protestant, Catholic, or like myself, Eastern Orthodox.
Right.
But
Okay.
so which one is the objective one, though? How do you
That's the
determine which
question,
one is?
right?
And I'm just
like,
wondering
it
how you get to
matters
objectivity if it's coming
disagree
from a
about, like,
mind.
dress code.
Because if there's a mind that's involved in the decision, then it's a decision being made, which would be subjective. So I'm just wondering how you get to objectivity.
Well, God's mind would not be subjective because it's not in the physical. It's metaphysical.
So what is something that exists outside of time and space?
God.
What do we call something that exists outside of time and space? If it exists for a zero amount of time and in zero space.
God.
So you would say God. We would probably say nothing, right? Because if
Right, but the moment
exists,
you say nothing, now you're faced with all these contradictions.
But we're not saying that there was nothing. We're just saying that, I'm saying I don't think anything exists outside of time and space. I think time and space is kind of where it ends, right? Like that's where what we can all
only the
see as
physical,
right? Well, that's all that we can see is existing.
Right. So you can only see the physical, and you don't believe in anything that's metaphysical.
Yeah, I mean, I think we would need I think we would need sufficient evidence.
Do you then believe that logic exists?
So the concept exists, yes.
Yeah, there are things that we define.
Do you believe in objective logic, or is it subjective?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And the thing is, a lot of times we will admit that we don't know exactly what is, out there. But for someone who, is making a claim that there's something that exists beyond that, I mean, there just has to be sufficient evidence. And you might have that sufficient evidence for yourself. It doesn't mean that we're going to be convinced of it.
Right. But you're going to ask for evidence, but you haven't even established logic in the worldview. So I'm saying,
no, I'm not really asking for evidence. I'm just trying to find out why you're convinced.
Well, because there's two options, right? Either God exists or he doesn't exist. A or B, right? There's no in between.
Well, I mean, there could be other gods that exist. There could be multiple gods. There could be no gods, right? There could be...
Right. You could do that, but either at least one God exists or they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
So A or B. So let's say that A is atheism and B is God. If A, atheism is correct, you do not obtain logic, morality, and ethics in an objective way. It reduces into absurdity, and therefore it doesn't even make sense to go from that point anymore because you don't even have logic.
I don't think it's absurd. I think even the morality that we are attempting to get from God is subjective because it depends on the interpretation that somebody is getting from it. Like you admitted it earlier that
Right.
everybody has a different interpretation.
If you believe morality is subjective, then anyone can just make up morality, right?
No, that's
You
not
would
true.
have no basis to say that Hitler did anything wrong if morality is subjective.
No, that's not true. We talked about this before. There's a social contract
Well-
we have with other sentient beings, right? We have evolved over time to, take those survivability genes and pass them on to the next generation over and over until we get to the point where we're at now, which we're not perfect, right? There's still a lot of people who commit atrocities, and there's a lot of people who should be in jail or whatever for the rest of their lives, because we haven't got to the point yet where we are at that the cusp of finding that common ground. And I kind of want to ask you a question on this, regardless of what our worldviews are.
Well, real quick, before you ask that question, I want to answer that point.
Sure.
Because that is still subjective. So you haven't given an
Yes, it is subjective. No, it is subjective.
That we kind of agree to these things.
Yeah, no, it is subjective.
No one agrees.
Yeah, it's subjective morality, and we've developed it ourselves, right? This is something that we've built over time.
And it goes back to my original point that I say, if your morality is subjective, you can't say anything is wrong.
Well, we can go down a couple different paths here, but I just want to know so why is objectivity necessary?
Because otherwise it's just up to everyone's opinion and they'll just never be able to agree. There has to be an unchanging standard.
So what if it's up to everybody's opinion and no one agrees? Or
for example, a lot of these atheists like you, they'll take qualm with, like, for example, slavery in the Bible, right? Many of these call-in shows that talk about the slavery being bad in the Bible.
Sure.
But if your morality is subjective, you cannot have a qualm with slavery.
That's not true.
Right? Actually,
because we recognize harm.
Right. We have a scientific way of determining what causes somebody physical or mental harm.
Yeah. Have you heard of John Rawls'
No, that's just a harm principle, and it would be subjective because from Hitler's point of view, it was perfectly fine to kill all those people.
From his point of view, but from a scientific point of view, he was causing harm.
You can't subjectively, like, it's just subjective. You don't have an objective standard, even if you claim like
subjectively
science.
We're a collective
from
entity.
An atheist point of view, we see animals killing each other all the time in the nature, right?
Yeah, sure. But let me ask you something.
Scientifically, there would be no reason to think murder is wrong.
That's fine. That's the animal kingdom. We're not talking about humans. I mean, that's not humans.
Wait, aren't humans part of the animal kingdom?
Well, yeah, but we are a different species. We're a different species. Let's stay on topic. Let's try to stay on topic a little bit.
The animal kingdom?
Sorry, we are. Yes, I said we are in the animal kingdom.
Like, refer to basic science again, then.
Sorry, I think you're misinterpreting what AJ said.
Yeah, I think we're speaking about different things. But let me ask you the question. No,
because from a strictly materialist view, you would look at nature.
Okay, let me ask you this question, okay? I muted you for a second because you're not listening. So I'm ask the question and then I'm gonna unmute you. If you have morality from God, does that mean that everybody's behavior is gonna change and suddenly start following that morality and not cause harm?
You're unmuted.
You're saying if morality comes from God, would we all of a sudden all start following God?
Right.
I'm not sure I heard your question right.
Yeah, like if everybody became a Christian of your religion, whatever your flavor of Christianity is, if everybody became of your religion and had the same set of rules given by your God, will that stop people from committing crimes? Will that stop people from causing harm?
No, but you would have a standard. You would know what the standard is because we're all sinners, and sin actually means to miss the mark. So all Christians miss the mark in some way. If we were perfect, then there would be no point to any of this.
We
But
already
I'm
have a
talking about
standard.
standards. Like, we know what the standard is, but in your worldview, you have no standard. That's the crux of my argument. So unless you
No,
can
we
come
do
up
have a
with an
standard that we have
standard in
built
your worldview,
over time. It's
it
actually
reduces into
a
absurdity.
stronger standard
And I
because
would like you to address that.
we've actually built a stronger standard because we find that if something is causing harm within our own worldview, then we can change it. We don't have to stick to what ancient texts tell us that we should do, or who we should hate, or what we should, who we should enslave, or anything like that, right? So we have built this social contract with each other, and we determine what is harmful and how we can avoid harm in the best way possible. And sometimes
Who is we?
we, as in the collective humans.
Yeah,
Okay,
for
so
example,
you asked every human and they all agreed with you?
Well, it's a consensus of data, right? So it's the consensus of the humans
Who
that are
consented?
existing.
All humans consented?
No, not consent.
it's
Consensus.
a majority. A consensus is a majority.
Yeah, it's
You
like
said consensus. Oh, so if a majority believes it, then it's right?
what? Sorry, I'm confused as to what you're saying.
Oh, so first you started out with consensus, then she said majority, because I shot down consensus, right? And then she said, well, it's a majority of people. So if a majority believes something, does that make it correct?
No, so we're working towards a better world.
Right. So
right?
That's absurdity.
For ourselves, because all we have is each other. There's no evidence that there's anything outside of us, so we have to be there for each other. Does that make sense?
No, that's literally nonsense.
No, doesn't make sense. Okay. So let's just scrap that all together then. Okay, if that doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. I mean, people are entitled to believing what they want to believe. But now, what I want to know is, regardless of what our worldviews are, do you think you could work together with someone who is an atheist to make the world a better place?
He must have let his phone go idle. If you're still listening, we're not able to hear you right now. Make sure your phone is not idle.
I mean, we can go back and forth on all day on this. We're not going to agree on, whether or not there's a supernatural entity out there. But what I want to know is it possible?
There's no agreement. You just don't have a basis for your worldview.
Okay.
Your morality is subjective. So if I want to say in your worldview that I want to be Hitler and kill a bunch of people, there is nothing wrong with that in your worldview.
That's not true.
No, in your worldview there wouldn't be. In ours there would be. You're basically saying that all atheists are assholes that want to murder people.
No objective morality.
Okay, but listen, I have personally killed as many people as I want to kill, and that is 0 because I don't want to, because I'm not a bad person.
But you can't justify why you haven't in your worldview.
Yes, we can.
Because it causes harm.
It causes harm.
No, I've been waiting for over half an hour for any of you to give me an objective definition of morality.
Has it been half an hour already?
You said it's subjective.
Yeah, it is subjective.
We don't need morality
to be
objective.
Morality.
So it's subjective. So then, if it's subjective, I'm sorry, but you lose.
No, it doesn't mean we lose. Okay, so how do you prove an objective morality?
Through God. It's the impossibility of your worldview, and that's why I gave you the syllogism, either A or B. A is
but
false,
that is an individual thing, because you believe your interpretation of God, and the Christian next door to you believes a different interpretation of that same God and that same Bible. So it's not objective.
Like force you to believe in God, right? But I'm telling you the syllogism, either God exists or he doesn't. If he doesn't, you reduce into absurdity. And if you don't think so, then go ahead and give me objective anything in your worldview.
You're just
you
failed
to do it so far because it's impossible for atheists to actually come up with objectivity.
Okay, let me ask you something. How did the US come up with the legal system? Is the legal system in the US religiously based?
I believe, it's Judeo-Christian.
No.
the justice system, not the Constitution. And also the Constitution is not.
Right? Do you disagree with that?
I'm asking you. Yeah, no, I don't think it did. Like, are you saying the justice system in the U.S. came from Judeo-Christian ideology?
Yeah, the values. Yes.
So we have.
In
Okay,
fact,
so
when we founded this country, every state in the union had rules that said that you had to be a Christian to run for office.
No, it did not. Well,
Yes, it did.
maybe they used to, but that's not in the current.
No. I will wait for you to Google it right now. Just Google it.
Who cares?
Hey,
Like, what are you even talking
how many
about?
states in the
Let's
USA?
get back to no. Let's get back to what we were going to talk about. Regardless of our worldview, do you think that we can work together to make the world a better place?
Christians and atheists?
Yeah.
Or everyone?
Everyone.
Well, yeah, we have to.
All right, awesome. That's what the goal is. So let's keep that the goal. Right?
Well,
I'm married to a Christian. I'm married to a Christian, and I'm an atheist.
It's going to lead to a bad place.
How is it going to lead to a bad place?
Because he can't get objectivity. So, like, let's say that I just don't.
But you know what? You're stuck in a loop because objectivity doesn't really matter.
You have.
It doesn't matter because the thing is too is if you can't prove objective morality.
No, you need objectivity to reduce into chaos. So, for example, do you believe there's anything wrong with a brother and a sister having sex and getting married if they can't have a baby?
What the hell are we talking about here? Like, this is really ridiculous.
That's a weird question.
Really ridiculous.
In your worldview, because it has no objective morality, will open itself up to all these things, and it already.
Okay. You know what?
Hold on.
No. Yeah. Hold on a second.
You're saying that religious worldview, any religious worldview has objective morality because that morality comes from something outside of humans. So you're basically saying that other religions also have objective morality within their own religion. So does Islam have objective morality?
Go ahead and straw man, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
Brazil, answer the question.
Hold on. Let's just skip all this and just say that we're going to win together here because we just said that we have to work together to make the world a better place. So let's just do that. And I appreciate your call, Raziel. This has been an amazing talk, and hopefully we can talk again in the future.
Justify any of these things, right? You can't.
Whatever you think, man.
Well,
I'm just here to work together with you. That's it.
Answer this one that's in the chat because you say something about objective. God gives objective morality, and therefore, two siblings cannot have sex with each other. How about Abraham and Sarah in the Bible? They were siblings. How did that happen in the Bible?
Was I muted this whole time? Because this guy's talking about working together, but don't you guys spend all of your time attacking Christianity?
No.
So what are you talking about?
I'm married to a Christian.
I'm married to a Christian. We're trying to have a conversation.
I do interfaith symposiums with people of different backgrounds and beliefs. I wrote a book about getting along.
Why would I want to work with people that have no objective morality or anything?
You said that we could work together. You said
then you don't want to work with everybody. What you want
is
for everybody to
want you to convert to the truth.
What?
I don't want you to live your life in.
Okay, no. You're about to start preaching, and we don't do preaching over here. So I muted you because what you want is for everybody, even us right here. You're trying to convince us to convert to your religion. That's not fair. That's not what we're here to do. We're not even here to convince you to become an atheist.
No.
We are here to have a conversation. And if we're talking about morality, we are free to, we are happy to talk about how we can work together. But you already say that you don't want to work with us. So I don't really know what else is there to do. So I'm going to unmute you now and let you give a few words. And was there anything else before we move on?
No. So what? Am I unmuted?
Yep.
Yeah, so no, what you're gonna do is cope and run away right now because you are completely unable to defend your worldview. I came here to destroy your presuppositions, and I
We
did.
did.
You pretend to be peaceful, and
Okay. Ooh, Steve, we're probably
I can't.
we're probably gonna be
Oh,
on
that's
this
too
Phil
funny.
Bros channel,
Oh,
and
it's so
gonna
good.
clip this. You owned us, man.
The
You
best
totally owned
part,
us.
the best
Owned.
part here is that
I
we
don't
were
have a
reaching
channel.
out.
I'm just a random
The funny
Orthodox
thing,
man.
best part is that we reached out an olive branch on multiple occasions, and I mean,
Yeah.
the internet's gonna see that, and
I mean,
it's gonna be
you
fun.
guys sit here and try to pick apart Christianity. I don't have a
I
channel,
don't.
bro. I'm just a random Orthodox
I don't
man
either.
that destroyed you.
I'm just a random man on the
Huh?
internet too.
I don't know about that. You
Yeah,
said
you
you
can't
talk
defend your
about doing
worldview.
debates earlier,
Everything's
so
subjective, right? Everything's subjective.
Everything's subjective.
Yeah, great worldview, man. Is that a true statement when you say that? Everything's subjective.
Yeah,
Is that
I
true?
mean, I don't know for sure, but what I can see, everything is
I'm
subjective,
okay with
and it's
that.
working out.
Well, if you said it, you're making a truth claim, right?
No, I just said I don't know
You're
for
saying
sure,
everything is
but
subjective.
that's the
That's a
way that
truth
we see
I
claim.
it.
don't know
That's
means
Yeah,
that we are
I don't
not
know
sure.
means I don't know. It's a
Right.
That's paradox.
Hey, in philosophy,
Before
that's called the
gravity was
self-defeating argument.
discovered, we didn't know. Before gravity was discovered, we didn't know how apples fell from the trees, why they went downwards, right? But then once we learned
You know
about
what?
it,
Because
we
God
knew
created you.
Oh, we
That's
found
the
out it's
only way
God
you
though.
know.
because science.
All right, man. Thanks so much for calling.
I
This is
know.
awesome.
Hey,
Thanks
Love
but
for
you.
you
calling. This
all
was
sorts of
fun.
science, don't you? Like eugenics and like biology, right? I'm sure you don't even believe in biology.
I don't even know what you're talking about anymore, but you know what? It's been a really fun call. And
What?
I like that at one point you said we could work together, but I really am disappointed that you said we couldn't. So I'm hoping in the future you will realize that we can. And I love you, man. That was a fun one.
That was interesting. Okay, I jumped it.
Too funny.
Because yeah.
I mean, I can't help
yeah.
myself sometimes when I'm laughing out of control. So
No, it's fine because it doesn't really matter whether he had a channel or not. Somebody in the chat mentioned that it sounded like a chat GPT sort of circular thing going on. I think
I think
it's like
at first he was when he was like getting off the screen and then coming back. I think he was checking chat GPT and then coming back or something. And then I heard like tapping in the background. So maybe he had a computer or a buddy or something. Who knows? But you know what? I really hope, I don't even care if he becomes an atheist again or whatever. I really don't care about his worldview, but I really hope that he does realize that, you know, human beings have inherent meaning to each other. Like we care about each other. We want to make the world a better place. And
honestly, I'm happy to work with theists. Like we both met April A. Joy at NanoCon. She works with Tim Whitaker. Really cool people. I've had him on my channel before. We've had really good conversations. The Monty Mader is going to be at the next NanoCon, and she's a Christian who speaks very harshly against Christian nationalism. Right here in Texas, we are currently having we just had the primaries sort of like to elect the people that are going to be voted on their general election, and one of them is James Tallarico. He's studying to be a minister, I believe, or something like that. And he's a Christian, but he's amazing. Like obviously, like aside from our different beliefs, he has really strong values that I respect. He's very pro LGBTQ people, pro abortion, etc. And it's like I don't care how he got there. He can still defend Jesus and the Bible. That's fine. But he is also extremely outspoken against for secularism, for the division of church and state, right? And he has testified in Congress for different things here in Texas, where they were trying to pass laws for the Ten Commandments in schools, for the curriculums to have biblical stuff in them, for prayer time during school hours and all of that. He's testified against every single one of them. He's like, we don't want that in public schools. He's like, I teach my kids at home and I teach my kids at church our specific religion, and everybody else should be able to freely teach their kids whatever religion they choose or no religion at all. at home, at church, at whatever secular groups they have, etc. And I think that's the way it should be. It doesn't matter whether you are a Christian, a Muslim, a Buddhist.
Mm-hmm.
You respect other people's religions, and this guy was clearly not. Sure, we do speak against the harms that come along with, especially more fundamentalist Christianity and Christian nationalism, and the extreme ideologies of certain Islamic sects, right? Because not every single Muslim person that we know is going to be like what we see in more extreme people, and not every Christian that we know is going to be a Christian nationalist.
Right.
So it's like,
and that's like, we were trying to find common ground with Raziel, and I think we can see the harm that's done if he's saying that he can't work together with us. That's harmful.
Yeah, it is.
Hopefully he'll come around.
Yeah, maybe he'll come next time that we're not here. Yeah, and he just kept speaking over so much that it was kind of hard to get a word in edgewise.
Yeah, he just kept using like buzzwords and stuff, and I'm like, what is he even talking about here?
Totally. Maybe it was the ADHD. I'll give him that. That sometimes you just go without the topics all at once, and you never finish the first one. That happens to me all the time. So tangents, as Ember will say.
I mean,
today's Ember's show. It's all about Ember today.
we asked him a lot of clear questions about how he got to his worldview, and he didn't really touch on it that well, so.
Like he refused to answer them, or he will like super quickly brush them off, and that's the sign of someone using a script. They can't go off the script and answer your questions because like, sure, you want to stay thoroughly on topic. Like when he started going off on a completely different way, and I was like, okay, hold on, let's go back, because that just took a U-turn, not even a right turn. But I thought like the idea of morality, as far as, I won't cover too much because next week we're talking about morality, but like the idea that atheists are just rule-free people who can do whatever the fuck they want is so silly. Because we do have methods that are pretty fail-proof, like science. Like obviously science is not perfect, that there is a process that you can take to where you can come to like the best outcome that you can hope for, and we have ways of determining whether something is causing harm to another person. And if we're using that as the main tool to determine what is right and what is wrong, I think it's a pretty good place to start.
It is.
And say, like if I say, hey, let's chop off your finger today, and you're like, well, that's gonna hurt, and I'm gonna have to have surgery and blah blah blah, then like, okay, we know, okay, yeah, no, we probably don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I wanted to bring up John Rawls' Veil of Ignorance, but he wanted to stick to his script.
Yeah, he spoke over you.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I mean, it's a good way to design a system where you're on the outside of the system looking in, and if you want to make everything fair for everyone, not knowing who you're going to be on the other side, you're going to design a fair system. And I think that's what secular humanism is doing. We're relying on the principles of empathy, compassion, scientific understanding, and trying to reduce harm in the world as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree. And I think that's a really good method of determining that we don't really need objective morality. And I think he completely missed the point of like, okay, you think you have objective morality from your God. The person standing next to you who has a different religion, even a different flavor of Christianity, is going to have a completely different set of objective morality, and they are also going to consider it objective to themselves. And I'm like, and that's why us as atheists, we're like, okay, I don't believe in a God, but I believe in humans, and I believe in humanism and humanity and reduction of harm. Obviously, there is no way to do harm-free humanism. I want to call it, right? So, but we try to do the least amount of harm that we can manage with whatever decision we make. Sometimes we fail. Sometimes, we eat a lot of food and we harm ourselves and make ourselves too chunky, or make our stomach hurts, or
Yeah, we have a chat there. Curvy letter, Sean. Yeah, thanks so much for being here. And yeah, it's true. Atheism only tells people what we don't believe. That's why I wanted to get his definition of what atheism was, because when he's saying that atheism doesn't make sense or whatever, I'm like, so what is atheism exactly? And then when he defined it as the lack of belief in a deity, everything kind of went to shit at that point, because what is it that you're actually denying there? Like, it just didn't make any sense right from the get-go. I was trying to entertain him. I was trying to draw more out of him, but it didn't seem to go the way that we wanted it to. That's okay.
Yeah, that's a good point what you just brought up. Like, there are atheists and there are humanist atheists, and it's a different thing. Definitely a different thing. Because you can have atheists. I did a show, a 3-hour show last night with one of the crew members called The Atheist. It's probably gonna drop tomorrow. But we were talking, we were reviewing a video by a fellow atheist who had some really terrible, harmful things to say. And we were really disappointed. And so we were reviewing the video. And it's like, that's exactly like, okay, we are atheists. We can call out other atheists who are doing harm. And that's okay. Yeah. I don't feel mad about that, because it's like, I call all harm no matter who's doing it.
Right, exactly.
So,
well, it was fun though. I liked that. No, it was a fun call.
Yeah, I know. I kind of like the spicy ones. It was a good break. I'm sorry, no break. A good balance, because we had 2 really good calls, and then this one that went. By the way, it was good, but in a different way. In a spicy kind of way. Oh, there he is. Cool, the atheist who did that show with me. So cool. I get my morals from my solipsism. I am a brain in a jar, and so is everybody else's. You know what? I have the brain of a child in a jar on my desk. Stephen King, by the way.